Welcome to the Did You Know series of the Voices of Life podcast, a ministry of the Church for Life. A place where faith speaks, where history breathes, and where hope finds its voice again. Each episode is crafted to inspire, to strengthen, and to guide you on your walk with God. And now, to lead us through today's journey, here is your host, Pastor David.
Welcome to the Voices of Life, a ministry of the Church for Life. I'm Pastor David. Today on Voices of Life, we explore one remarkable date, August 21st, a day in history repeatedly intersected with faith, conscience, courage, and the struggle for human dignity. Across the centuries, continents, and a single date has carried stories of priests, preachers, abolitionists, scouts, soldiers, citizens, and martyrs. So did you know that on August 21st has produced some of the most powerful faith-shaped turning points in world history? Let's walk through them. On August 21st, 1815, a young Austrian seminarian named Joseph Mohr, born out of wedlock and facing steep social barriers, was ordained as a Roman Catholic priest. 1 year later, he serving on a small alpine parish. Mohr wrote a poem that would become Silent Night. 3 years later, on Christmas Eve, 1818, that hymn was sung for the first time, quietly, simply, and prayerfully, inside a small church in Oberndorf. Did you know that one of Christianity's most beloved hymns began with a young priest who overcame shame, poverty, and rejection, and offered the world a song of peace? Now we'll move on to Nat Turner. On August 21st, 1831, enslaved preacher Nat Turner launched the most famous slave rebellion in American history. Turner believed he received divine visions, messages of judgment and deliverance, and interpreted them as a call to rise against slavery. The rebellion was violent, tragic, and consequential. It terrified slave-holding states and led to harsh new restrictions on black education, assembly, and worship. Did you know that Nat Turner's story forces Christians to confront a difficult question? How do believers discern God's voice when injustice is overwhelming and when suffering tempts people toward violence? Now we move on with Henry Highland Garnet. Let your motto be resistance. 12 years later, on August 21st, 1843, another preacher, Henry Highland Garland, a free black Presbyterian minister, stood before the National Negro Convention in Buffalo. His message was bold. It said, "Let your motto be resistance." Garnet called enslaved people to claim their God-given dignity and resist their oppression. His speech was so radical that the convention refused to adopt it. Did you know that Garnet's address sparked one of the earliest debates among abolitionists about Christian resistance, whether it should be peaceful, persuasion, or active defiance? On August 21st, 1912, Arthur R. Eldred became the first Eagle Scout in American history. He earned 21 merit badges, an extraordinary achievement for the young Boy Scouts of America. The original Scout oath declared, "On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country." Did you know that the very first Eagle Scout was examined by the founders of Scouting themselves, and that the award was originally designed as a symbol of Christian character, service, and moral leadership? Now we look across the ocean at the Paris in revolt. The liberation begins. On August 21st, 1944, Paris was still under German occupation, but the city was rising. The French resistance had launched its uprising 2 days earlier. Barricades were built. Fighting spread through the streets. The Allies would not enter the city until August 24th, and the German commander would not surrender until August 25th. Did you know that August 21st marks the moment when ordinary Parisians, students, police officers, shopkeepers, and clergy risked everything to reclaim their freedom? A very momentous time in 1959. On August 21st, 1959, President Dwight D. Eisenhower issued Proclamation 3309, formally admitting Hawaii as the 50th state. This followed decades of debate, a congressional act, a territorial referendum, and the election of state officials. Did you know that Hawaii's admission required one of the most complex constitutional processes in American history, and that its people voted overwhelmingly for statehood? On August 21st, 1983, Filipino Senator Benigno Nimoy Aquino Jr. returned home after years of exile. He knew the dangers. He stepped off the plane and was assassinated on the airport tarmac. His death ignited a nationwide movement that eventually toppled the Marcos dictatorship in the 1986 People Power Revolution, a movement that led in part by the Catholic Church and the Archbishop Jamie Sin. Did you know that Aquino's martyrdom helped spark one of the most successful nonviolent Christian resistance movements in the 20th century? Across the centuries, August 21st has carried a single thread: faith inspiring people to confront injustice, defend dignity, create beauty, and pursue freedom. A priest writing a hymn, a preacher interpreting visions, a minister calling for resistance, a young scout embracing duty to God, a city rising against tyranny, a people entering the American family, and a martyr awakening a nation. This is Voices of Life, where history reminds us that faith is never silent, never passive, and never irrelevant. It speaks, it challenges, it liberates, it heals, and it calls us to live with courage. I'm Pastor David. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for joining us today on the Voices of Life podcast, a ministry of the Church for Life. As we close, may the stories we share strengthen your faith, steady your heart, and remind you that God is present in every chapter of your journey. If this episode encouraged you, share it with someone who needs hope. And until we meet again, walk in truth, stand in courage, and keep listening for the voice that leads you forward. This has been Voices of Life. Peace be with you.